Lucky me. I had an opportunity to hang out with one of my favorite execs and one of my favorite thought leaders and frankly favorite people here at Cisco. Gene Hall is VP of Marketing and Communications for our strategy, incubations, and applications business. He also happens to be one of the nicest and most inspiring guys you could ever hope to meet. Let's go ahead and roll our conversation. Hi everyone, we are so glad to have you with us here, not just at the show, but here in the studio. Honestly, if you're having half as much fun watching us and joining us here on the live stream as we are in the room in Amsterdam, you're doing beautifully. We have arrived at what is always one of my favorite moments in this or in any Cisco Live, and that is when I get to hang out with Gene Hall. I love being with Gene and having your energy here with me. How are you, my friend?
Steve, it's awesome to be with you. You're incredibly kind, and be careful what you wish for, because I'm caffeinated. I'm very caffeinated.
That's what you were drinking in the cup earlier.
Well, you know, you got to hydrate.
You got to hydrate. You got to hydrate or die. That's what they say. All right, Gene, one of the reasons that I love when you and I get an opportunity to sit down and talk with each other is you're not just current vision for the organization, you're future vision. You're about strategy, you're about incubation across our applications and so far beyond that. So what I want to talk about today is FSO. I want to talk full stack observability because this has become such a big priority for us at Cisco. Why? One of the biggest priorities for our customers, right?
That's right.
So let's start there. Why? Why does FSO matter so much to the customer and why today? Why now?
So I'll put it in very simple terms. The awesome people we have on the show floor that represent our core customers in IT operations, they play an enormously critical role, sorry.
You sure you're caffeinated?
Too much caffeine.
There you go.
Enormously critical role in their organizations, and their jobs just continue to become more complex, right? And if you think about every organization now on the planet, it's basically a digitally led organization. And what is the currency of that? Applications and digital experiences that really users, customers, partners expect to be seamless and secure and reliable, right? So FSO is the thing that gives them the ability, a superpower really, to see what's going on, to take action in a really prioritized way, and it automates their life so that they can actually then elevate where they spend their time on things that are really truly strategic instead of just chasing the next problem.
I love what you just said there. It's a very streamlined way of saying it's not about the technology, it is about the experience. The technology creates the experience, but when they think of Cisco, if the experience works, they're in. If it doesn't work, they're out, right? It really is that simple.
That's right.
Do me a favor, go all fundamental on me at this point. How does full stack observability actually work? A lot of people know what it is, but they don't know what it's doing in the network, in their infrastructure.
I love it. Okay, so basically what we do with Cisco App Dynamics and what we do with the Cisco Observability Platform is we take a tremendous amount of telemetry that's coming from the network, from your security domain, from applications, how users are behaving. We combine it with business context, like impact to revenue and impact to actual ability for users to take advantage of your solutions, right? We combine those things, we provide the context, we provide alerts, we provide the ability to tie it to security policy and posture, understand compliance. We'll talk about partner stuff, partner development in a second, but we bring that together in one place so that these overworked, underappreciated heroes and heroines of the story can be successful. And actually in one place, take action, right? And not just address and remediate issues, but proactively determine where to spend their time.
We empower people. The IT people who are just so pushed, so overworked at any given time. In your view, when you see a customer that has really successfully implemented FSO, what does it look like to you? What is success with full stack observability?
Yeah, well I'll give you some practical examples, right? We have customers where, if you think about our Cisco Digital Experience Monitoring use case, right? Which is really looking at across the entire domain, from your mobile phone, your tablet, your e-commerce app, all the way down into infrastructure, how all that's performing, okay? It used to be hours, if not days, to try to determine why there was a really, really bad experience on, say, an e-commerce application. We've taken that down to like 15 minutes and less, right, in organizations. A great example, if you think about it strategically, Patek Ergal from HSBC that you heard on main stage today with Ronak, was talking about the real transformation that HSBC is making, and the fact that Noel Quinn, their CEO at their last earnings, said, we are investing in technology and digitization to do two things: to accelerate growth from a bank perspective, and to constrain costs to reinvest in growth, right? And so she gave the example of one of their big strategic visions, right, for the bank, is they want the full power and the full experience of HSBC, the bank, in your pocket. But to bring that to life for a truly global organization like that, you need to put in the hands of IT folks the superpower of full stack observability.
So cool, and I'll tell you what a big part of it is that I see is that it connects into this whole idea of simplification, right?
Yes.
Complexity in the network is a challenge to the network when we can simplify things, and that's exactly what you just described. It's a simplification of the system, it's a simplification of remediation, getting you to that result faster, and the more we add applications, the deeper the stack becomes, the more we need insight through the stack, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. There's simplification of how you ingest and use all that telemetry and all that context and all that data, but there's also simplification that we're driving and delivering to just make these powerful tools more simple and more accessible. So for example, right, we talked about today that we are launching natural language interface so that you can have these busy folks who have to understand how all these different solutions work, you can have them actually use just plain human language to interact with the system to get the results they need. One great example, right? Soon we're going to have the ability through AI to issue summarization, right? Again, making it more simple and successful for them to engage with. We have a unified experience between Cisco App Dynamics and our observability platform, right? So this eye to really, really bringing all the technology to ground around real use cases, real humans, and the real challenges they face, which I love, right?
And that's part of the One Cisco story. That's that edge-to-edge portfolio. Nothing is in a vacuum. When you work with Cisco, you get all of it. You get all of it connected together. All right, so speaking of all of it, you just mentioned it a moment ago. Let's walk the elephant right into the middle of the room.
Oh boy.
And let's talk AI, because we can't go 2 feet without somebody talking AI wherever we go here, right? So from the AI front, tell me about the work that you are doing with AI on a day-to-day basis within your team, how you are making AI cost-effective, responsible, like Jonathan talked about, secure, sustainable.
Yeah. So a wide variety of work that I think we could be really proud of as an organization. So starting with the fact that as a purpose-driven organization, we are committed to responsible AI, right? And we view AI as a way to augment humans, right? And elevate where they can spend their time and how effective they can be. AI is not going to replace the humans, right? And I think, if you heard Vjoy talk about it earlier in his iTalk, he talked about the fact it's 2024, like people are getting real about it, and it's easy to prototype something in a small fashion in organizations and AI. It's much more challenging to take it to scale. So Cisco plays a key role in driving this and what we enable and how we use AI. So specifically within full stack observability in the fall, we launched the ability to observe large language model APIs and calls on OpenAI and give you a sense as to whether those things are behaving safely, securely, give you a sense as to how much money you're spending and whether or not that money you're spending on that is actually tied to outcomes that matter to your business. So that's one great use case within what we're doing in FSO. I'd say again, we're embedding AI even more fully into how we deliver insights and analytics and tie business context to it. If you think about within SI&A, our strategy incubation applications world, right, of which FSO is part, we had announcements today. It wasn't main stage, because again, every presenter is limited on time on main stage. We want to talk about everything, but you've got to learn about our cloud application security solution, Panoptica, because within that, we actually have 2 of like 5 amazing announcements this week. One of which is a truly innovative Gen AI assistant with a multimodal capability, a lens-like feature that will allow, whether it's an application developer, a SecOps person, to scroll across the screen, look at the attack path of everything from design, build, runtime of an application, and determine if indeed you have an issue, right? So it's using Gen AI to make that more successful. We are also delivering extended security for large language models as well. So those are just a couple examples of like dozens that we have in flight that I'm just really excited about.
And I love it. And your excitement is infectious. This is one of the many reasons that I love talking with you. Gene, I always wish that we had more time on these segments with one another, but I'm grateful when we get you in the studio. You're one of my favorites. I'm just going to say it. Sorry, just all there is to it. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Keep doing the great work that you do.
Thank
Everybody, thank you for being with us here. We appreciate it. We'll be right back. So there you go. I mean, you can tell Gene is just such a fantastic and enthusiastic Cisco storyteller. I'm really glad that we had that one-on-one opportunity here in the broadcast studio. So thank you so much, Gene. Now, speaking of amazing opportunities here at Cisco Live 2024 Amsterdam, looking into my monitor, and Rob Boyd somehow managed to grab a few free minutes with G2 Patel. Rob, I don't know how you did it, but well done, my friend.
Well, I showed up with a light and a camera, and G2 goes, yeah, okay, fine, let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. And so it works out well. Thank you so much for taking the time, and Steve, thank you for throwing over to us. You know, you've obviously been in the hot seat talking about what we've been doing with generative AI and all the other forms of AI that we're also pioneering. But I don't know if anybody's talked to you, if I've missed it, but about your personal viewpoint on how AI is reshaping things, and if you have advice for any of us looking from a career perspective, just saying, hey, focus on this, don't worry about this as much, watch this space, anything to that effect.
Well, I'll say this, that it's probably one of the most significant platform shifts that we will have experienced in our lifetime. And each one of us at Cisco have to think about how can we do more with AI while also keeping in mind the aspect of responsibility so that we don't do something that has unintended consequences that we haven't thought about, you know. And so from a career standpoint, a lot of people ask me sometimes like, hey, do we have any training programs for AI? And I actually think that's a little ironic because the training in AI is actually self-evident. Go to ChatGPT and get yourself educated and dexterous enough. But one of the challenges we've had for all the engineers in the company is I think every single engineer should probably have some feature that they have built in their product lines for AI by the end of the year. And that's a BHAG that we should try to go out and get, kind of get to.
I agree with that, and I have a philosophy, or something I'm kind of thinking is going to come about, is a lot of people are worried about the dehumanization, that the machines are taking over, but I actually think that there's a very good chance, and there's evidence for it, that there's going to be a re-rotation towards being more human, allowing us to have more access and be more available because of what the technology enables us to do. Do you think that there's those angles available to us?
I do believe that it's naive to think that this is not going to have downside effects. And we ought to make sure that we're thinking deeply about the downside effects as much as we are about the upside. But you have to make sure that we, one, get a level of dexterity that's high enough on AI for all of us so that there's a level of fluency there. And then we just need to make sure that we do things with the level of thoughtfulness so that we don't release something that we then are caught flat-footed on. But you have to make sure that you're actually pushing the envelopes on how you're thinking about this as well.
Well, and you're reminding me, I think, of a part of the conundrum I feel like customers are facing is, on one hand, the market is saying, hurry, 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 this stuff's changing so fast, you're getting left out. But on the other hand, we know that these tools are also tools for the bad guys as well. And we have to respond in kind. So it feels like there's a race to keep up, but there's also a race to be pragmatic.
So on that front, I think if you look at the past 30 years, we've seen the adversaries and the bad folks have the advantage over the defenders in cybersecurity. Why is that? Because they have to be right once. The defender has to be right every single time. This is the first time, I'd say, in my career where I can see a light at the end of the tunnel where we might see the scales tip in favor of the defender because of a data advantage. Now, I don't think we're quite there yet, but that's the thinking that we have. And so we have to be very, very thoughtful about making sure that we deal with security in the platform, being able to handle attacks at machine scale, not human scale. Because I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of advantage of us going out and being able to predict and prevent what's going to happen before it actually does. Because the patterns of data getting correlated will allow us to do that in ways that we weren't able to do before.
Yeah, and the way in which I see our security group taking it and really doing real-time changes to reflect what we're seeing in the real-time threat landscape is very encouraging, because I think that's where a lot of those answers are going to be. It's about being dynamically flexible. When it comes to Cisco's messaging, when you talk to customers, do you feel like the AI messaging and the complementary aspects that go with that is resonating? Are they receiving it, or do we still have more work to do? Should we double down on certain areas?
So our challenge is the core message that we have is resonating really well, but we've not been able to syndicate that at scale to everyone yet. And I think we have to be very, very diligent about doing that, because if there's a story, then that story has to be told over and over and over again. so that we can come across as one consistent unit that's going out to the market. In the absence of that, if everyone modifies a story 10%, you're going to have a very different story to every customer by the end of it. And I think that's the thing that we have to actually keep in mind as we're going through this.
Yeah, that's interesting. The story changes quickly, and it's like telephone. It could get disturbed really quickly. So final question here, one thing that you think we should remember and make sure we don't overlook coming out of this conference and going back into our home territories?
I'll give you two. I think we had a very significant announcement with identity intelligence. And that makes identity part of the fabric of the Cisco Security Cloud and into every application that we might have, whether it be Secure Access, Duo, XDR, in our user protection suite, cloud protection suite, breach protection suite, it'll just be part of the fabric. So please take a listen to the keynote if you haven't, because it's going to be really important for us to be able to convey that story to customers. And then the second area is AI. We've actually done a tremendous amount of work in building really magical experiences on both collaboration and security, and you're seeing that across the board. And I'm really excited about how this is. We're getting some great feedback from customers, and I spoke to a lot of customers, a lot of partners, a lot of press, and they were all really excited, and I want to make sure that that excitement carries through with our Cisco employees, and we can actually project that outbound as well.
Perfect, well that's what we're going to do, is keep pounding that drum. Thank you so much, appreciate your time. And guys, we'll go back out to the studio and as we prepare for our keynote coming up.
Thank you so much. G2, thank you. He can't hear me right now, but so glad that he took a couple of extra moments to talk with us here on the broadcast. The keynote space is filling up quickly for this great guest keynote. I don't know if we can get some great overshots. Look at this. Look at how beautiful this space is. Man, here I am in the studio. All I can do is enjoy it back here, out here on the monitor, but we're so excited to bring that to you about 15 minutes from now. Stay with us here on the live stream. We are back in the TV broadcast studio. Nish Parker is hanging out with Gordon Thompson, our VP of EMEA Service Provider. I get to turn toward them. Gordon's hanging out over there. Nish is over there. I'm going to send it your way, Nish, and let you take good care of Gordon now.
Thanks so much, Steve. So yes, I'm here with Gordon. Gordon, welcome. How are you doing today?
Pleasure to be here, Nish. I'm loving it, loving it.
Good, 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 good. Now here at Cisco Live on the broadcast, we like to give a bit of love to all of the different customers we have here, whether they're small businesses, enterprises, public sector. Today, we're going to talk about service provider. That's obviously, you know, the customer segment that you looked after here in EMEA. So what does the experience look like for service providers at the show this year?
Well, I think, you know, if I'm a service provider customer coming to this event today and during the course of the week, there's a few key things that I'm going to take away. First of all, you know, security and sovereignty has to be inherent in everything service providers do, and there's been some great announcements around that from Cisco this week, again, proving our security heritage in terms of things that we can do. So that's great for the service providers. The other thing the service providers are really focused on is how they can really automate their environments to reduce their operating costs. And they're also thinking about how they can build new services to drive top-line growth in their business. And actually, at the heart of both of those topics is something called AI.
Yes, I think we might have heard of that one this week.
Yeah, I think we've heard of that once or twice. But the reality of it is it's really about the data that we're collecting as an organization to help them automate more, to reduce their operational costs, and to use that data to monetize more, to try and drive more top-line growth for their customers as well. So if I'm a service provider customer, I'm coming thinking, okay, Cisco's getting its act together around security, Cisco's getting its act together around data, they're going to help me reduce cost, and they're going to help me potentially monetize as well and drive top-line growth too.
Awesome. Now, we've talked a little bit about observability here today as well. So what role will that play in the longer term of really helping our customers you know, with a better AI in the longer term?
So, in the service provider space, you know, we compete against various different IP vendors, you know, the likes of Nokia, Juniper, Huawei, Ericsson, these sorts of people. And our key differentiation is our ability not just to provide a transport mechanism for them to send IP packets across, it's their ability to observe those IP packets.
Right.
So if you look at Thousand Eyes acquisition, looking across the internet, we recently acquired a company called Ascidian Networks, who looks at, you know, the packets going across the service provider network. We acquired a company called Sam Knows that looks at the last mile and the end user device. So when you piece all of those things together, you get to a point where you have a complete view of the IP packets moving across the full network infrastructure. The beauty of that is if the service provider knows what's happening with the packet, they can start to predict performance levels that potentially they can offer in the future. So service providers are really interested in getting more access to more data.
Right.
Sure, to make their networks more efficient and more reliable, but they're also beginning to think now, okay, I can use that data to predict what's going to happen, and I can use that to offer new services to my customers as well. So, observability, end-to-end assurance, which then leads into AI ultimately as well, is truly a means for service provider customers to reduce their operating costs and start to think about how they can drive new services to their customers as well.
For sure, and I think in everything that service providers do, that's really critical, right? That's what's unique about that segment of our customers, is it's not only about helping them to reduce costs and to have their own efficiencies, but actually the experience that they can provide almost to their customers,
Absolutely.
we can help them with that, and that's why so many service providers decide and choose to partner with Cisco to help them along that journey.
Totally.
Now, over here in the world of solutions, we have a lot of work and a lot of things on display around sustainability.
Yep.
We have Build a Bike, where people can actually go and build a bike themselves, and they all get donated to some great causes locally here in the Netherlands as well. How does sustainability play a part in that overall story for service providers?
Well, it's massive. Let me give you one kind of example. A traditional incumbent service provider consumes on average about 1% of all of the energy consumed in that country. Right, so that's massive. So the service provider wants to do two things. The first thing is they want to reduce that to show that they've got green credentials, right, and they're a good company. But secondly, they want to reduce that because the cost of energy is so expensive. So we're really looking at the moment helping our service providers do something that we call delayering. So if you think about a service provider network today, it has an optical layer that they push packets around really fast, and that then connects into a core IP layer before we then start to drive that traffic more out to the edge. That core layer between the optical layer and the IP core layer, we're now actually converging into one layer. Okay, so the optical network used to, to connect onto termination units, transponders. They would all have to be powered and managed, and they would then connect into the router. And now what we've built is a small pluggable that goes straight into the IP router from the optical cable. And we've taken away a complete layer of the network. So it's called Routed Optical Networking, or RON for short. And the customers who are deploying it are reducing their core energy costs, so for that core bit of the network, by around 60%. So 60% saving in the power consumption in the core part of the network is a game changer. So we're really focused, and our service providers are really focused on driving power efficient networking moving forward.
Awesome. Gordon, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit for the last question, because I know you've been with Cisco for a while. So, and you've done a great job here, by the way. Not to age you, that wasn't the intent of mentioning that for our viewers, just a disclaimer. But when you were a child, I think you have something you wanted to share about how, between when you were a child to where you are today, the role that you play at Cisco, the expansion of AI, like what's changed over that time, and what was the thing that you wanted to share with us, let our viewers know?
So I want to, so when I was younger, I was going to become a professional golfer.
Right.
Okay. And to be a golfer back in the day, it was just all about your talent and capability. Now, obviously I didn't have enough talent and capability to be a great golfer, but there was no data involved in it back then, When you look at professional golf today, it's all about the use of data. Right? They're really looking at what's happening with the ball when you strike the ball, and they're looking at all of that data to be able to change their swing patterns and change all of that. Other things they're using, so for example in the Ryder Cup this year, Europe played Americas, and the reason everyone says why Europe won was not because we had better players than the Americans, but we used our data better to work out who we would play against who we would partner with each other to work together. And for me, I think that's that really shows us today that that data is a differentiator in everything we can potentially do in life, even with something that's completely away from IT altogether in terms of golf. So yeah, so I see that similarity now in terms of the importance of data, and you're seeing it everywhere here this week.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing those personal stories. That's what I love about Cisco Live, is hearing different people's experiences and the stories they have. And there's so much knowledge, not just technical, but experience here at Cisco Live, and that's one of my reasons that I love to come here year after year. Thank you so much for joining me, Gordon. We're now going to watch a quick video on Cisco Secure Connect.
here we go. Okay, let's see, nope, not that one. Okay, let's see, here, no,
Hey Miles, you got a second to take a look
you
at
gotta
the
fill out a ticket, Carl?
Where? Nope, that doesn't go. Oh, too many screens. Okay, let's see. No. Where are you?
There's got to be a better way.
There is. Cisco Plus Secure Connect, a unified turnkey SASE solution that simplifies operations and delivers a seamless experience for users.
Oh, this is different. A unified way to manage SASE, all on a single dashboard? Cisco Plus Secure Connect. Yeah. And everyone's connected and happy. I like unified SASE.
So, is now a good time?
It's the perfect time.
Cisco Plus Secure Connect, making IT professionals' jobs easier while providing secure, seamless access for users anywhere.
If you are here in Amsterdam with us at the RAI for Cisco Live 2024, the Cisco Secure booth, right there, it's directly next door to us, so come on over and pay a visit to all of them. We are ramping up to our guest keynote that will kick off at 5:15 Central European time, so according to my clock, about 4 minutes or so from now. Our speakers are getting in place, and as they do, we're going to head on to the keynote floor, where Cedric, I think, is hanging out with a couple of our Cisco champions. Yes, Cedric?
Hey Steve, yeah, I'm here on the floor, and actually we were just enjoying the performance, but I found two of my victims from the first row. That's what you get from the first row. You have to get an interview with me, and they're Cisco champions indeed. So let's just ask them their names first. So what's your name?
I'm Michael, and I work for the Dutch Air Traffic Control.
Okay. Hello. And what's your name?
My name is Okun Kember. I'm working for NXP Semiconductors.
Okay, awesome. And I'm always interested in these interviews, Steve, how many times people have been at Cisco Live. So let's ask that as well. Is this your first Cisco Live?
Second one this year.
The second one, and for you?
I believe 6 or 7 times I've been.
Oh wow, we have a Cisco Live veteran right next to a Cisco champion.
From London, I believe. From London till here, so worldwide is that.
Awesome, well thanks for joining. So I'm gonna stay with you for a second. What are you most inspired by from this year's Cisco Live?
It's about everything usually, but mostly it's about AI. AI is very interesting, especially Cisco is investing, I believe, there more. And very interesting things is also regarding the Starlinks sessions. That's from my side.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to your friend/colleague. What are you most inspired about from this year's Cisco Live?
Network GPT by John Capodiano. It was really an inspiring session, and how he brings artificial intelligence to the people, making it open and making it accessible for everybody. Just makes you want to go back to university and do it all over again.
You're dedicated.
Yeah.
Okay, if we think about a technology announcement that's were made throughout the conference as well, is there any favorite that you have?
But still AI. It's something 20 years ago which was still in its baby shoes, and now you see it how it can be used in products to improve it, make it all better, and just making everybody's life easier. It's just like brilliant.
I said it so many times before, AI, AI, AI. I don't know how many times I've said it. What is it for you? What is one of the most exciting technology announcements that you've heard this week?
As I say, there's many of them is interesting, but the most interesting part was for now we are focusing SD-WAN. So that's one of the very interesting parts where Cisco is actually going. And yeah, especially additional like AI, like my colleague, our friend is telling, more and more is coming for sure. I believe that Cisco is going to announce that soon.
Awesome. I have one final question. If you have to bring friends next year and convince them they have to come here next year, how would you do that?
show them all the cool photos, videos, and blogs of this year.
Awesome.
And it helps your CCO, you got all these ribbons.
He has a lot of ribbons, to be honest. We're gonna go back to the studio, but before we go there, just have a look. This is something that you have to come for. It's an amazing performance. I love it, but now we're gonna go back to you, Steve.
All right, Cedric, I think you just threw to me at the same time my producer was talking to me, but we are going to set things up in the keynote, and you're right, it looks gorgeous. I'm a bit jealous that you get to enjoy all of that beauty and that great performance, and you know, here we are back in the hub. Not that this isn't fun, but I'm watching in the monitor here, and man, I wish I was over there with you. We are really excited for this guest keynote, which is going to kick off very shortly. Oliver Tuzik is welcoming Tom Gruber, AI pioneer, co-founder and CTO of Siri, and they're going to talk about AI and data and humanity, delivering on the promise of AI. We know how complex today's AI landscape is, but it is also incredibly exciting. So Tom and Oliver are going to look at how far we have already come on our AI journey, what is coming next, and what we should all be getting excited about right now. They're also going to show us how we can tackle AI's risks together and give us a roadmap for the future to harness and to direct this powerful and pervasive technology for global good. I'm so glad that we've got all of you here on the broadcast, and I'm going to bring in my friend, Nish Parker, over here. Hi.
Hi.
By the way, great interviews that you've been doing. I know you're just right nearby, but it feels like you're so far away.
I know.
So it's good to get you back in the studio with me here. I wanted to ask you, and I want you to remind me, how many Cisco Lives have you done now?
Oh no, I've lost count.
Have you lost count at this point? That's pretty great that you lost count.
The first Cisco Live that we did together, or I've ever been to actually, was in 2019. I've been to a bunch of Cisco Live EMEAs in US. Everyone is so unique, it's so different. There's always something new that we bring to our customers, to our partners, and every year it grows, not only in attendance and in size, but just the energy. People get more and more excited about it. You saw Cedric just interviewed one of our Cisco champions there. Did you see the number of ribbons he has? Like, he's probably collecting those.
There's a sense of dedication to being here at this event, right? In fact, speaking of which, I want to go back out to Rob because he's corralled someone back over there in the keynote space as well. Oh, he's corralled Cedric. Great, we're going to leave it to Rob and Cedric. Let's send it out to you. What are you seeing?
Well, it's funny because I was going over that same question you were asking about how many Cisco Lives you've been to, and like Nish, I'm not entirely sure, because I was thinking it's been at the rate of 2 a year for the last 15 years. I don't know, on average.
Does that make you feel old?
I already felt old before I said that. Yeah. Oh wait, thanks, young guy. No, just kidding. Anyway, one of the things I'm most excited about this particular keynote is that we have a true technologist. We're talking about the creator of Siri, which I think is probably going to be one of the biggest AI breakthroughs in terms of how we do these voice assistants that have always seemed a little bit very helpful, but not quite reaching the promise. What do you think?
I love Siri.
Yeah.
I use her every single...
Do you like Siri better than Alexa?
Absolutely. I use her all the time to set alarms when I go to bed and so on, so that's very easy. But yeah, no, I'm very excited as well to hear from Tom, because if you think about it, Siri was launched more than 10 years ago. And I feel that this is the year that we're gonna bring AI to like more people, that we're advancing even more, and I just feel it's accelerating so fast, Rob. So yeah, what do you think about it?
I'm excited. I'm very text focused, so I'm very interested. Large language models, as much as I think they can be distracting for really what AI can do, is they're also opening eyes, and the way in which we can use natural language and not have to remember like command line instructions and things that I honestly have never been good at remembering. I think it's exciting and scary as it opens up a world of new options and then enabling people to do things that we haven't had access to before. I'm really excited by that.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think we have so many capabilities that we don't know about yet. We might get in there in the next conversation, but we're gonna toss it back to the studio right now. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate it. Enjoy, have a good time over there. Report back to us. You know what, Nish, we keep hearing about technology and talking about technology, but I want to keep coming back to the fundamentals and the baseline. Cisco is a people-first organization, right? That's why the show is so important. It's about community. It's where people come to not only connect with one another, but to connect with the engineers, the executives, to discuss their own circumstances, their own challenges, their business-related questions, to network, and just to hang out together like like you and I get to do. All these people are literally hanging out. What have you been, I mean, I know you've got a ton of friends out here.
Yeah.
You're being stopped like every 5 feet. Have
Not
you
as
had
much as Rob and all of his selfies. He's a bit of a celebrity at Cisco.
Yeah, but he gets out there more often. You and I are stuck in here. But you have a lot of team here, right?
I have a lot of teams here that I work with day to day, yes, but I do want to call out something that you said about community. We see everybody out here on the show floor. What you don't see at the surface is all the exclusive groups that we have here. Things like the Cisco Insider booth.
Yes.
We have so many VIP experiences. The Cisco Champions. We have net vets. They're the people that have been coming to Cisco Live. I think it's more than 3
Distinguished
times.
speakers
Exactly.
with their own group as well.
Exactly. So there's so many communities within the Cisco Live community, and that's what I love about it is customers can, connect with other people in the same industry, same business size, understand their business challenges, and really make those valuable connections, share best practices, and then even just have friends to hang out with who are working in the same industry. I love the community. I think it's my #1 thing about Cisco Live.
Absolutely, and by the way, I'm going to take your community one step further, and I'm going to be with this community, the folks who are tuning in here on the live broadcast with us, coming to you from the RAI in Amsterdam. We love this opportunity to talk with you, to share all of the innovation talks, all of the executive interviews, all of the demos, but we need to be able to hear from you as well. This can't be a one-way street. We've got to make it a nice broad boulevard, a big avenue, and the way that you do that is through social media. So as we head into the guest keynote, if you see something that you like, if you hear a quote that's remarkable, if they talk about a product or a technology or a capability that gets you excited, what do? Hashtag Cisco Live EMEA. Post a photo of wherever you are tuning into the broadcast from, because you are a vital, vital, vital part of this Cisco community. We really do appreciate it. All right, so what are we looking forward to here? We just heard about it in AI.
Yes.
Tom Gruber, kind of a remarkable technologist. Siri, maybe one of the first great public and global uses of AI before we were talking about AI as a product, right, Nish?
I mean, I don't want to age how young I am, but I remember using Siri for a very long time. Like, was I a child when Siri came out? I just remember Siri being not just the cool factor, but just practically helpful in my day-to-day life. And I know, Apple is one of Cisco's partners. We have so many integrations, especially with WebEx, and I'm really excited to see that. But I know, specifically with Siri, it's amazing to see how the technology has grown. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what Tom has to say and where he got the idea. I'm sure he's going to share maybe a bit about where did the idea come from, like what's his thinking behind it, how did he go about creating it, a bit of the behind the scenes. Siri is a big name, a big global name.
A big global name, and again, sometimes like you say, hearing the inspiration, where did it come from? And I'm going to guarantee you right now, it came from a conversation that Tom had with a colleague, with a fellow friend. This is how these big ideas come about, and that's why we want people at this show, because the innovation, the communication leads to everything.
Yes.
We are going to head into our guest keynote now with Oliver Tuzik and Tom Gruber. Enjoy.